everybody? I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mountie from New Jersey and sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season, it always comes back to haunt you in the end. So be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
Man, that was one of his best paper slams to date. Nice, Matty. I was waiting for the bobbleheads to shake a little bit there.
You know why that was the best slam?
Why?
Because there was no reverb. It was just solid down, boom, done.
Welcome, guys, to Lazy Booking on A2DRadio.com. Our Scanzano Sports poll question this week, guys. Will Shinsuke Nakamura finally beat AJ Styles for the WWE Championship? Pretty simple, yes or no. Join us on Facebook. Join us on YouTube. Join us on Periscope. If you want to drop a vote there on Twitter, do it. We got Mike Mataraki joining us again.
That's Eric Jr. to you.
Eric Jr.
One last time.
Last
Eric
time.
Jr., my burner account.
And obviously you have the Ginger Gang here. You got Madison Sudi. You got Chrome. And we got Ryan, the bro, Doe, Mr. I nicknamed myself, over on the ones and twos, giving me the middle finger behind
Flipping
the
of the bird.
Yeah.
Giving me the Austin treatment behind the camera.
Altogether, the horsemen of A2D Radio.
Absolutely.
We're the tag team of the group, though, because we're the
Absolutely.
Ginger Gang.
The mower of lawns and the flipper of the bird.
Flipper of
Flipper of the bird. Wonderful.
Guys, obviously we had we're building up to Money in the Bank. And last week
Is that what we're calling it? Build up?
we are building up. It's a very slow burn, but we're getting
like
there.
It might be.
We are getting there.
It might be slower than molasses on a cold winter's day.
Last week we kind of focused more on the women's Money in the Bank match. This week we're gonna focus primarily more so on some of the other matches, but primarily the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura last man standing match for the title.
Yo, Ovechkin's grayer than a mug.
I know. It's crazy.
He's got more gray than me.
Yeah, obviously we have the Stanley Cup Finals on, and
Sorry.
if you are a hockey fan, that's okay.
We'll keep you posted.
After we go off the air at 9:30, a half hour after us, 10 o'clock, Hockey Happy Hour, Maddie will be a part of that, as always.
Yes.
Facebook's
It's his jam.
That's his jam.
It's his jam.
History may be made tonight. Who knows?
So I put it up there. I want the fam to talk nerdy to me tonight. Let's hear it.
I like it.
We got Rob Povia. Yes, I think it's finally time, and AJ will win it back at SummerSlam. Ooh, short. Unless they take him in a different direction. Raska says, hello. Rob, AJ will retain against Nakamura. I think he's talking to Povia. Nakamura will not, I repeat, will not win the WWE title. Anthony and Rose Bryan says, what's up, family? What's up, fam? What up?
What's going on?
Travis Downing, let's rock. Absolutely. Let's do it. Jared Allen Beard, he says, hey, guys, don't usually comment on here. You probably know me as Y Society. Nice.
Yes, we do.
Go over to the
What's
YouTube
up, man?
now. What's up, brother? Yeah, he is one of our very active YouTube guys. Steve Gordon, my buddy Steve, he says no. Pretty simple. Travis Downing, hey, Mike, PHS alum, first time here for me.
What's up, Travis?
There you go.
My man.
So guys, obviously, this has been going on for a while now. From the dream match at WrestleMania to multiple cock shots and false finishes. So, for the lack of a better term. But it seems like this may finally be to where we meet the head of this matchup, this feud for the time being. How are you guys feeling? Is it finally time to put Nakamura over AJ? What do you got?
The more I see us rolling into this match, the more one name keeps popping up into my head, the guy who most likely will win the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men, at least in my opinion. Not going to dive into the Money in the Bank. We'll save that for next week. But I think Nakamura does win, but I don't think he holds it by the end of the night. I think they might do a same-night cash-in on him. So that way they could say he did win the belt, but Vince still winds up not having to put it on a Japanese wrestler with the language barrier. You say, all right, he was champ. That's it. There you go. Enjoy. And we're taking the belt right off of him that same evening.
In fairness to him, though, he has language barrier or not, he's been working that character.
He has been. Absolutely has been.
Him as a heel is just
so much better than a
money.
babyface.
Yeah, it's money. Everything about it works. His mannerisms, and I know people talk about the charisma that he has, but seeing like the facial expressions and the way that it works the same way, and even the mouth guard with like the red teeth, the sinister looks that he makes, his character is so much more entertaining now.
He's got that. He does have a lot of expression that some wrestlers really just don't have today.
Yeah.
You know, some do, some don't. He does a great job of just getting all the emotions he needs to get out just through expressions alone. He doesn't really need to say anything to tell you what he's feeling.
Oh, for sure.
Now, see, I'm actually on the other side of this. I think that AJ wins the match, but it's one of those situations, take it back to Rocky 2, where they're both down, referees counting, 6, 7, 8. They're both struggling to get to their feet. Styles is up at 9. Nakamura doesn't get up in time. He retains. Then the narrative then becomes, you beat me by 1 second. We need to do this again, whatever the case may be, and they continue to draw it out to SummerSlam.
It's an interesting thought. I'm on before I do, Steve Gordon said he feels like they ruined the feud, and then I understand the narrative and why people feel that way.
I completely get that.
But what I do take positively, as we were just saying, coming out of all this, is how great Nakamura has been as a heel. I look at it. They have to protect Nakamura if he's not going to win. I feel like Nakamura will win because then it gives them the ability to then wrap the feud up at the next pay-per-view so there can be a fresh main event for SummerSlam. I don't see them doing the same thing again at SummerSlam. I'm intrigued because and we're going to talk more about it next week, with who I'm leaning at to win Money in the Bank. I almost feel like this is a perfect opportunity. Like you said, both guys are struggling to get up. Somebody could come in and cash in and really just stand in the ring and stand there for the 10 count.
That's interesting.
That is true.
And this way it protects both men.
So let me get this straight. So they're both down. Someone comes in, cashes in, and then just tells the referee to start counting.
Yes.
And stands there for the 10 count, takes the belt, and leaves.
Absolutely.
So the
And
person,
with who I will say, I think it is going to be a heel that's going to win the Money in the Bank, and it is a very heel move to do that.
but I think also
it's a huge heel move.
It's funny because that same person could say not only were they WWE champion, not only did they beat Nakamura and AJ, they won the first ever triple threat last man standing match, even though they inserted themselves in at the last minute.
That's pretty genius.
It is.
Here's my, I'll call it, issue with the whole part of either Nakamura, with Nakamura or a heel cash-in winning is, do they want to have both their champions, Raw and SmackDown champions, both be heels with the baby faces chasing? Because if you look back, ever since they went to not the very first brand split, but the more recent, the draft and then the Superstar shakeup, typically they run opposite on the two shows. If one show's champion is a heel, the other is a babyface. Sometimes you'll get two heels. Very rarely will you ever get two babyfaces.
Right.
So do we think Lesnar's dropping the title at SummerSlam?
Oh, for sure. I think Lesnar's finally going to drop the title. Yeah, no, there's no question to me. And Steve Gordon says The Miz. That's who I'm alluding to. I don't want to talk too much about the men's match because we're going to really get into it next week. But as of now, the way I'm looking at it, Miz is my favorite to win this match. And it is a classic Miz move to do something
Oh,
like that.
no question.
And if I stand correct, there is still one spot open left, right?
No, well, no.
No, that's right.
announced
They haven't
which
picked the
New
Day member yet. That's right.
Which
I
I'm
forgot.
assuming we won't know probably until
That
the
night.
actual night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like that's the way it was going to go. And I know we've talked a lot, and we talked last week about possibly the women cashing in the same night. I don't know that we're going to see that, although they could pull the historic never had 2 cash-ins in one night move. I don't think they're going to do that because it gives them a storyline to constantly go back to throughout the year. But if I'm thinking about it in the way I've been really kind of breaking it down more and more with me thinking Miz is going to win, I just almost feel like it's almost destined that that's the way it's going to go down. And a lot of times when you look at it, when the heel wins the Money in the Bank, like look when Sheamus did, it was almost like a comic-y kind of a program he was working right before he cashed in at SummerSlam.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, Survivor Series. And they're doing a lot of that with Miz now with the stupid pancake batter and all that stuff and the hat. And it's almost like they're kind of just revving it up. And then when Miz comes in, because I think Miz is ready for the monster push. And then you get Bryan and Miz for the title at SummerSlam.
Interesting.
Here's the one problem with that, though. That is extremely quick. I mean, that's only, a 2 pay-per-view jump from now, from Money in the Bank to SummerSlam. That's extremely quick from you to take it from AJ Styles versus Nakamura and then removing them both from the title picture in just 2 pay-per-views. That is unlike what WWE does. It's more likely, for example, to go back to the poll question, I definitely think Nakamura wins. Number one, I think it makes the most sense. And 2, I don't know how much further this feud can go. And I think timeline-wise, it fits perfectly because Nakamura wins this pay-per-view. He retains the next in the rematch. Then he moves on to who I think he's going to face, and that's Cena in one of the co-main events. I think it's Nakamura and Cena, and then the other one's obviously Rollins and Lesnar. So for me, while I would like Miz to cash in, I don't know if WWE would move that quickly. I think if in the scenario you threw out, I think there's only one other superstar that would fit that bill, and I honestly think it would make more sense. It's Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe's kind of been interacting with Styles, a little bit there. And then maybe if it's not going to be Cena and Nakamura, maybe they build to a triple threat at SummerSlam, which is Nakamura, Styles, and Samoa Joe.
So it's interesting because I love the dynamic with having Ryan in here because he and I are like, we're so far apart age-wise. Like, he sees, the current day WWE and the way storylines progress and everything is quick, and you can't draw storylines out like that. Whereas I'm sitting here thinking back in the day it was nothing for a 6-month draw it out from WrestleMania through King of the Ring to SummerSlam, and if it was really hot, take it all the way out to Survivor Series. I don't disagree with you at all. It's just an interesting viewpoint that you're kind of you've got your finger on the pulse of today's audience to the point where you're like, no, this thing's got to get done now because I need to get on to the next.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, dude, Styles and Nakamura is money. Let it go for a while. I'm good with that.
Yeah, but I agree with you in some senses, but it has been, and that's why I think you can remove Nakamura out of the picture. If he loses again, and part of the reason they've been able to keep him in is because of the backstory and the real heat with, not real heat, but the heat between them to where Nakamura can pull AJ's strings enough to goat AJ into giving him another match and another match. He loses, he's done. Now AJ gets his rematch for the title. You could easily have AJ lose the next pay-per-view and move on to the next program. So I know that you said history does tend to, with the new product, they try to drag it out more and more. But when SummerSlam comes, it's kind of when they start to hit the reset button on a lot of things.
So can I...
Or those feuds that have built up that either they didn't get the payoff at WrestleMania or they held it out for that next stage, like Miz and Bryan, they'll wait till then, and they'll just drop the seeds between then. But so usually these 2 pay-per-views are used to wrap up that stuff.
So can I paint a different scenario for you?
Sure.
And this is a little far-fetched, but I kind of dig it.
Okay.
So, without getting too heavy into Money in the Bank, because I'm not going to be with you guys next week, but Finn Balor wins Money in the Bank. Hits the ring at an opportune time. Hits the coup de grace on Nakamura. Helps AJ to his feet. Gives him the club too sweet. Right into a sling blade. Another coup de grace. And then stands there and allows the referee to count them both down.
I like the idea. The reason it won't happen is because they have, as of last week, been emphasizing that it is a title shot on your brand.
Oh, okay.
Which is
Otherwise,
Sucks. by the
Yeah.
way.
great.
See, I didn't
say
catch
that
that.
is
I thought
bad,
I
yeah.
thought that it was like one of kind of like with the Royal Rumble winner where they could choose.
Well, so they started, when they originally started plugging it, they made it sound that way. But I did talk last week how, if you notice, it was the first time last week on Raw that they started emphasizing that you get the shot at the champion on your brand.
your brand. Okay.
Otherwise, I love that booking. But
That is not lazy booking
it's
at
not
all.
lazy booking at all. Unfortunately, that can't happen. But Miz can.
Miz can.
And
sticking with it.
And to go back rather quickly to that, like my initial thing is I don't have an issue with removing Nakamura from the title picture. If you're going to just do one, that's fine. Like, listen, in the scenario I laid out, I have them removing Styles from the picture momentarily. My issue, and the reason why I don't think they would go through with your scenario, is that they would need to remove both within one pay-per-view period before their second biggest one.
Right.
And I don't see them doing that. And then, listen, if they end up going with Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, I won't complain.
Yeah, I
sure,
know,
I'll be
I
like, that was quick. That came out of nowhere, but the payoff will be great, and I'll be happy either way. But like I said before, it's unlike WWE to flip it not only away from one superstar that they've been riding with for years, AJ Styles, but to go from Styles and Nakamura, then to Miz and Styles and Nakamura, because that next pay-per-view would need to be a triple threat, to, hi, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Because Daniel then just comes out of nowhere, and the only way that would work is if they set up like a battle royal on the first SmackDown after that pay-per-view for a title shot.
Well, that next pay-per-view wouldn't have to be a triple threat. Nakamura's not been the champion. They can remove him. He's had 3 opportunities where he has not won the title. That's
So-
why I think you could do the short Miz AJ Styles
AJ gets the
program.
rematch clause. Miz wins not so clean. Yeah.
By terms of WWE, you only get one guaranteed rematch. So he could lose, and Miz could say, sorry, buddy, you had your opportunity.
No, I'm not saying they have to do that.
No, I
I
know
said
what
they
you're saying.
would do that because, number one, they would need something for Nakamura to do before a big pay-per-view. 2, Nakamura, I guarantee you, would say, oh, well, I was robbed of an opportunity. This man was not involved. He would go along
Now, the
something
only
like
thing
that.
with that is he wouldn't say that because he can't say that
Well,
much
yeah,
in
he-
one sitting.
He would think that,
kidding.
and then
I'm
he would
totally
say,
kidding.
no, speak
Yeah.
English.
No, I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. It leaves a lot. There is what's fair to say from everything we're throwing out. There's so many different possibilities that could go.
Couldn't you see the scenario though where you have Miz in the ring as the champion, AJ comes down and gets in his face and talks about wanting the rematch, and then Nakamura just comes down and he gets in Miz's face and he just looks at him and says, "Knee to face," and the crowd cheers because they think, "Oh, Nakamura's turning babyface again," and then he turns to AJ Styles and just looks at him and goes, "Knee to face," and then people start booing the shit out of him again. That would be beautiful.
Absolutely. Frank says, "Hey yo, AJ wins something. Something
Hey,
tells me Nakamura will win it at SummerSlam. Yeah, SummerSlam.
Matty, YouTube is jumping, brother.
All right, then.
Well, what else you got there, Crow?
No, I just 2 more. Travis Downing says, I had enough of Cena. Need some new blood.
I don't remember the last time I saw Cena on
he's-
TV, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's been a
I
little.
saw him on the Today Show.
Well,
Yeah,
all right.
Last time we saw him on TV.
And he says,
Fair
he
point.
says, I'm waiting for Bobby Roode's real push. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Yeah.
They got to turn him heel first.
It's gonna come, but just give it some time.
They got to turn him heel.
Yeah.
Can we put Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley in a tag team of heels that have been completely underutilized?
The C team.
The C team. By the way, that is an awesome I love that gimmick on
The B
Raw.
team
That
is
I
amazing.
love that.
They've
That
been
is so
Their
fantastic.
great.
theme music does not fit though because
No,
their
it
theme
doesn't.
music is so serious. It reminds me of the Nexus.
They're awesome.
The B team.
Nexus.
The B stands for best.
Oh man, that I just love that team. But anyway, all right. So on to YouTube.
Yeah, get that YouTube.
All right then. So David Rosca, as always, chiming on
As
in.
always.
Of course, he is the president of the Mandy Rose Club, and no
And with,
surprise.
with
he
that
said-
entrance, who's
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. And he says Mandy freaking Rose and Sonya Deville will be absolution with Carmella as she will retain against Asuka.
Let me ask you to hit the pause button for a second, 'cause
Sure.
I have a question for you guys. So do you remember, like, the absolute white-hot heel heat that Eva Marie used to get when her music hit?
Yeah.
Tell me it is not complete opposite when Mandy's music hits.
Oh, for sure.
You just hear, Mandy. And then the camera starts to blur a little bit.
It's like gold dust. I'm like, it says gold dust.
And then immediately, Corey Graves, shut up, Byron.
You're ruining this. I've waited my entire life for this moment.
Oh, it's the gimmick just never gets old.
No.
It
Shut
really
up,
doesn't.
Saxton.
And if you go back to how he worked it with Eva Marie,
was the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's
Shut
so
up.
good.
Shut up, Phillips.
Be still my heart. That's my favorite line. Be still my
But
heart.
he's literally gone from shut up, Phillips to shut up, Byron. Let me enjoy this. Oh, he's just. Other than that absolute freak blonde hair that he went to, that guy is just money at the announce table.
He's
Oh, I
great.
love him. He's awesome.
great.
So, Matt, I'm sorry. Continue.
No. All right, on to Rob Povia, as always, chiming in, saying, prediction, the B team, Axel and Dallas, will be deleted by the deleter of worlds,
Okay.
brought to the Lake of Reincarnation, and join the Woken Warriors. Yes.
I think that this could be. I think they could lose to the B team, and that they could start
They could.
to start building the breakup between Bray.
I don't even know if
And
they
Matt
build up.
Hardy.
I think he just does it, to be completely honest, because that's the only that would be perfect for the B team to win, because obviously they won the Battle Royal by not even throwing anybody over the top rope. It was kind of a mess up by Heath Slater. So I honestly think Bray Wyatt turns on Matt again. I honestly do.
Now, if I'm booking this,
Or I would book it the other way and have Matt turn on Bray.
see now if I'm booking this, that's kind of where I'm going. Is I'm booking this as Bo Dallas gets the win on Bray, and Matt, in a pseudo heel turn, reveals that they're actually real life brothers, and turns on Bray.
Oh God.
And they start blurring that line between fantasy and reality, and then Bray aligns himself with the B team. Curtis Axel doesn't like it. He circles around over to Matt Hardy and says, hey, you've got the family heritage, I have the family heritage, maybe you and I need to team up and take these guys out. There's a whole figure eight of booking going on here that I think could be extraordinary.
If they don't go that deep with it, I honestly believe there's going to be some kind of fourth wall breaking spot during the match where Matt Hardy goes to Bray, maybe when Bray Wyatt first starts the match, and he says, hey, don't you know him? And then they'll applaud. Yay, reunion, yay.
I like that. That's more likely. I hear where you're coming from, but I feel like that's way too in depth for them for a minor program.
I like the idea, though. I think it's a great idea. I just don't think WWE would do it.
And
But-
I hear everything that you guys are saying, but if they wanted to find a way to get their fans reinvested in tag teams, because right now, even the best tag teams get no pop whatsoever. I mean, there's just no juice in the tag team division at all. Even great matches get, okay, that was good. Moving on. Where's my next singles match?
Well, they could definitely take a page or two from the booking from NXT. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, no question.
That's
How about
definitely
we
for
just
sure.
trade them? We take the NXT tag division, put that up on the main roster, allow it to be booked like NXT, and move all the teams that we don't need on taking up airspace and actual oxygen, and put them down on NXT.
Yeah, my general idea is just I think Bray needed such a refresh that to put him right back into the heel Bray that he was, like there's no other direction heel-wise to go with that. Matt Hardy has played the broken gimmick as a heel when he first came in.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen that dynamic in WWE. So that's, with him now not really being associated with Jeff anymore, he could do something new and creative with that and let Bray kind of continue to try to build some momentum as a face, which is what they should have did a long time ago.
I will tell you, and this wouldn't happen for, probably a year ahead of time. I honestly think down the road, we're going to see a tag team featuring Bray Wyatt and Killian Dane. I think that would be really good. And obviously, they kind of look similar, to be honest.
Or, somehow you can associate Bray and Sanity and
Yeah,
and
well,
create
it's.
something.
We're talking about the
that's
tag
some
team
way it could
division.
work.
Like, where's Sanity? Where's Disciples of Apocalypse?
Didn't they run like TV spots that Sanity was going to be coming?
Yeah.
and
They
then
just keep
never,
saying soon.
Yeah, they've had nothing for Sanity, nothing for the DOA, nothing for
The Authors
Authors
of Pain.
Authors of Pain.
I almost forget they're like on the roster.
That's another reason why I think B Team wins very quickly, because I think they're going to then quickly drop it to Authors of Pain. Because there can only be so much time that they keep Authors of Pain off TV, because then they're going to be the next Revival. And the Revival, they had
I was going to
injury
say, they got
troubles.
nothing for Dash and Dawson.
Yeah, it's brutal. They have a lot of potential there, and they just haven't done anything with
Well,
it.
that and the injuries didn't help nothing.
Well, exactly. It's a shame. That one's a shame.
For me personally, I think Dash and Dawson would be great tweener tag team champions on Raw, where literally they win, and 1 week they're playing mega heels against a babyface team, and the next week the heel team comes after them and they say, we don't like you, we don't like anybody, and then literally just week after week after week after week. Any team you want to put against them, let it go.
So basically, they would be the new Edge and Christian from back in 2000, when they would basically have them constantly winning the tag belts, and all the other teams would face them for the tag titles as the year went along.
I would even go back further than that and say, now, Arn and Tully were pretty much heels, but
For the most part.
they would defend against heel teams.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
Mike Lipinski says he's got to win, doesn't he, at this point?
We
then he
talking about
says-
Nakamura?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
he says knock wins and immediate cash in. That's what I think. Or I don't think he wins. I think that there's a cash in during the match. I'm sticking with that.
Okay. And Why Society Wrestling chiming in. He said Corey Graves said Bailey was in Money in the Bank on SmackDown Live and then said he meant Natalia. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me think that he accidentally spoiled that Bailey is taking her place. They did do that injury thing on Raw,
Huh.
which if that happens, I'm like, damn, Graves. Like, everything else is golden, but you just screwed that up so bad.
Is it something that people are going to care that much about?
Honestly, no. Let's be honest.
I think Natalia's going to get involved in the Rousey match, to be completely honest with you. I think that's their out, so
Yeah,
Rousey
it's-
doesn't get pinned.
Well, I actually think she costs Ronda the match,
Mhm.
and that then allows the student versus teacher feud.
Yep.
Could
I
be.
agree.
And then next up, Why Society again saying Sanity cost AJ the match and the Good Brothers the tag titles. And so Sanity feud with the club. What do you think?
That would be a way to get AJ out of the title picture.
Or could Sanity cost Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, and you have a feud there?
It's possible.
And that could set up another deletion program. And they're weird enough together to
Yep.
make it happen.
They are. Yeah.
to make it work.
That's basically another version of Decay and the Broken Hardys. Just one is not a Hardy, and the other team's called Sanity.
Yeah, the other team's not supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
Here's the big problem with that, though. they're listed as a SmackDown team. So that, and they just did the draft. I don't know if they would flip.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, it depends, though, how they want to play this
You're
off.
right.
Because sometimes for the big pay-per-views, they would do inter-show matches. They wouldn't do it really for any other show, though, but WrestleMania, though, most of the time. I don't know. I mean, do you think they might go down that route, but do you think it's too soon? Do you think they do any inter-show matches for any of the big shows? Just for bigger spark?
I think you're about a year ahead of yourself.
Year
and
ahead?
I'll tell you
Okay.
why. I think as they start getting closer to that Fox contract for SmackDown,
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I feel like that's probably where your brand split is going to dissolve because Fox is not going to want just the quote-unquote B players. So I think you are going to start seeing a lot of guys appear on both Raw and SmackDown once SmackDown goes to Fox. But I think they're going to set that up in the next 9 to 10 months. I think you'll start seeing things kind of like what you just alluded to, where you start getting run-ins from guys on the other show, or you set up like inter-show feuds and stuff like that, and then by the time SmackDown goes to Fox, there basically is no more brand split.
All right then. Back to the YouTube here. Y Society again chiming in. AJ retains the title and Baylor cashes in, and I believe that was something we talked about.
He stole my line.
He also,
Although he probably had his comment in long before I got mine out.
True.
and then he also goes on to say, I think Nikki Cross loses at TakeOver and joins Sanity on SmackDown Live after Money in the Bank. Baszler faces Kairi Sane at Brooklyn, and Shayna can go to Raw after losing. And then
God.
Keep her down.
Keep her down there.
I don't want to see her.
She is as green as the sod farm on the roof of the Barclays Center.
She's fucking awful.
And Io Shirai signed recently. Bring her in as a heel.
Who was that?
That's a Japanese.
Did she sign?
Yeah.
Because I thought that they were like dead set against bringing her in.
I thought she had the concussion
because
issue.
of the concussion and the neck injuries.
You know, they brought her in. Yeah, she's in.
That's interesting. I had no idea that they actually did finally sign her. I know there was a lot of buzz, and I just kept hearing they're super paranoid about the head injuries, the neck injuries, the concussions, and I was like, they don't want to sign her and have her be another Daniel Bryan where they have to wait 3 years for her to be cleared.
Yeah, but you know what? They might just play it careful at first, and then if she does get hurt, they may just release her outright.
It's possible.
Yeah, because they were looking at her right before they signed Kairi Sane.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, no, we're going to sign
Well,
Kairi
Kairi Sane was her replacement
Yeah.
in the Mae Young Classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, since Kairi Sane won that was probably going to be Lowe's
It's possible,
her moment.
Very likely.
All right, and now up. Mix cashes in at SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan wins the Rumble. Bryan versus Miz at WrestleMania 35
That's what I'm running with.
with the WWE title on the line. I mean, that seems like a pretty. That seems like to be
It's reasonable,
kind of
for
the
sure.
general idea I think we've been having for the better part of a month now, leading into Money in the
Yeah,
Bank.
it's very reasonable. I do think whenever they get to Miz and Bryan, there is going to be the title on the line.
Because
Whether it's now, whether it's later, 100%. And then that feud's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because we all know that the belt
I
is.
can't wait for that.
The belt is definitely going to Miz before the year's out. We
For
all
sure.
know that much. And then obviously Bryan has to take the belt off of him because it's just like that feud is like perfect, tailor-made for a WrestleMania main event.
All fair points. My counterpoint to all of that would be that feud would be so white hot that there doesn't need to be a title on the line.
and that's a valid point. But when you talk now, my counteract to that, just something to think about is, you have
Are you
nothing
giving
going
me
on.
something to wrestle with?
I'm giving you something to wrestle with.
Nice.
Something else to wrestle
Something else to wrestle with.
with.
Not just shadows.
Cheap plug.
With nothing happening with Brock Lesnar and a very kind of stalemate program that's been going on with AJ Nakamura, I almost feel like whenever they do start to transition to another major title program, it's got to be something that's huge at this point because it's all just kind of sat stagnant for a while. And that's been the complaint is, people are upset with what's happened with AJ and Nakamura. It's not like you have the alternative right now to go over to Raw and get invested in that main event program. So I feel like it doesn't need it. Absolutely not. It's going to be an awesome program regardless. But I could see them saying, let's just blow it all out coming up in the next year.
Well, if we're thinking really long-term booking and kind of working our way back, my prediction right now on June 7th, 2018, the first episode of SmackDown Live on Fox, babyface Brock Lesnar is going to beat Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE title.
Oh my god.
Could happen.
Oh my god.
Because imagine the ratings of Brock Lesnar winning a title on the premiere episode of that show when Fox couldn't make UFC work on network television.
Yeah, that was their boy. That was their golden boy for years on that network.
Yeah.
I'll give you another reason, by the way, why I think they saved the Daniel Bryan Miz feud for WrestleMania and for a title. It's going to be a huge opportunity. I know Hunter sees, I know Vince sees, to tell a big-time story, and they always run with these WrestleMania moments. And they have the opportunity to do something very rare to where a storyline from nearly 3-4 years ago comes full circle, and that was Daniel Bryan would win a title, the title he never lost, which is the title he fought so hard to get against the Authority, the WWE title, in a way which would be against his former pro, The Miz from NXT, which was how he got into the WWE, his biggest rival on the same stage he won it in the big moment years ago. He never lost the title. This will be the first time he's going to be going after the title after years and years and years of adversity. I just think with all of the storylines and all of the promos they could put into it, I think Vince and the people in the storyline team would say, hey, this moment is worth saving for another 6 months.
I have no issue with any of that.
All right then.
Yeah, I'm not debating that.
I'm looking.
3 yeses?
Nobody-
I'm
nobody's
looking
debating
to
that.
the heel for the heel response, and there is none.
I'm like, wait, are we
that
all
could
right with that?
That could work.
Honestly, I think that would be the smart move. I can't really think of anything else that at this time as big as that could be for WrestleMania. But then again, the year's not out, so who knows what happens in the following months. But
One thing
I
to
don't
keep in mind, next WrestleMania is 35, and we always know on the
Fives.
5s and 10s are
Yeah.
always huge shows.
That's
So,
true. The odd ones are always kind of.
Yeah. So
All right, and next up. And Why Society again. Styles versus Nakamura versus Joe at SummerSlam. Baylor cashes in to make it a 4-way. He can't beat Lesnar, so go after AJ. Orton can be traded to Raw for him when he comes back.
I love the idea, but if we go back to what you were saying, that they said that you can't
cross brand.
cross brands for the cash in.
They've emphasized that it is the champion on your brand.
Maybe he means like traded prior to the match and just it's unannounced, quote unquote.
There's no logic there though, because if you're the Raw general manager and a guy on your brand is holding the briefcase, you're not trading him.
Yeah, it would make no sense.
Yeah.
That is true. See, this is why I think the whole it has to be your brand thing is kind of stupid.
It's
You're absolutely
dumb.
right.
I despise it. Yeah, no, I agree with
You're
that.
spot on, Matty.
All right.
It's a missed opportunity for them creatively to be able to do a lot.
All right, so next up, he says, so many freaking possibilities. I agree.
True story.
He says, Black versus Ciampa for the title at Brooklyn 4, and Gargano versus Ciampa for the title in a 3 Stages of Hell match at War Games 2.
That's really some advanced booking on that NXT. I could see the title match that he's talking about it at Brooklyn. I don't get too far advanced with booking NXT because guys can get moved up so quickly, different opportunities. So,
Especially if somebody gets hurt.
yeah, no, for sure.
Next up, says, if Natty is getting pulled from the ladder match, she could cost Ronda the match instead, which we did address. And then David Roska chimes in. He says, Rusev and Lana will win Money in the Bank.
No chance. Sorry, buddy, no chance.
Next up, Why Society again. How great was the contract signing on SmackDown
I was
Live?
just going to say, after this comment, I want to take it back because me and Mike talked a lot about this before we went on the air. I think Mike agrees with me. It was very I'm liking a lot of what SmackDown's creativity is right now in regards to the presentation. Like the contract signing, I think Mike totally agrees with this, was fantastic. Like it took me back to like when Jack Tunney would be sitting at the table and it was Hogan and Andre. And it had a very – I feel like it's way too gimmicky when it's in the ring.
And it's interesting that you said that because I agree with you that it had a very old school feel, and I love that they went away from the cliche of we're going to have the contract signing in the ring. You know there's going to be physicality, whatever the case may be. When you have that segment set up backstage – like you said, it had a very old school. The only thing it was missing was Jack Tunney feel to it. And I think it played out extremely well.
I went back and with how the programming's been, I don't go back and watch segments more than once very often. I went back and rewatched that. It was very good. The slap was stiff. I think we had said it looked like Nakamura might have turned his head the wrong way because he turned his face into the slap instead of kind of bracing it to take it this way. But
here's the thing, though.
His reaction to it was gold, though.
I would have to assume that was pre-tape. And I would be willing to bet that you're right. He did take it the wrong way, but the reaction was so good they just said, "Nah, fuck it, go with it."
Probably, yeah.
Either that or maybe he just did it as a judgment call because usually Japanese wrestlers do not care. They will take stiff shots all day.
Oh, they do. No, that's for
True
sure.
story.
If you just watch Wrestle Kingdom, you'll see that shit.
Yeah.
My boy Ishii. This guy's a fucking nut.
He's like the king of getting them stiff
Jesus
shots.
God.
Like, seriously.
But, no, I thought it was great. And then even going back to, like, the throwback, having the interview out into the crowd on a platform like they did with Renee Young and Big Cass, had a very throwback, like, Superstars and Saturday Night's Main Event feel. I loved that.
It actually, to me, it had the brother love feel.
The brother love.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But
brother love.
I'm liking a lot of what they're doing. Even like this, like they're doing the backstage vignettes, like they did with the Uso, with whatever Uso and his wife, and different things. I'm really enjoying the presentation that they're starting to put on, and I feel like they need to. They're at a time where they really do need to change the programming up a little bit.
Yeah. No question.
All right. So next up, David Rosca is saying, I can't wait to see Trish Stratus' twin sister win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship and the SmackDown Live Tag Team Women's Champion. Well, we knew that was going to happen at some point. Come on now.
So we'll go with the.
Well, I was going to say, we're kind of up against it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just blow through these last couple YouTube comments and then.
Well, let me read this last Facebook comment because we're going to be jumping off of Facebook. But Travis Downing did say one of the best contract signings, Putski and Ventura.
Ooh, that's old school.
That's a real good one.
I like it.
Love that throwback.
Ooh, nice. Putski drop. That gets points.
Yeah. Run the last couple down.
Next up,
you got to hit the last one too. Real
All
quick.
right, yeah. So he says, last one, the video package for Dream vs. Ricochet was fantastic. I like that they brought up Patrick Clark on Tough Enough.
It's my guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match for sure.
And then the comment before that was, do you still think Nikki Cross gets called up after Money in the Bank? Because I don't see her winning the title.
It's a mucky situation right now with the women just because there's so many. I wouldn't hate it. At some point she needs to, but I mean, I think we talked about it. They kept her down because they needed to have a name down there, essentially, with all the new faces. Possibly, though. We'll continue to talk about that on the other side. Tom jumping in just says, yo, what's up, fam? What's up, Tom? Thomas Kennedy McMahon are known. Thank you, sir. On the other side, we'll continue to talk Money in the Bank, Raw, SmackDown. We got a couple news items this week, including CM Punk's defamation trial. This week in wrestling, a lot of stuff to talk about. We were kind of running down some of the things earlier.
Oh, good.
Real good stuff. But, yeah, so if you are on the video here, up in the caption on Facebook, there is a link to join us for the second half on YouTube. Maddie's going to give us a read.
All right, then. All this was brought to you by Skinzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.skinzanosports.com.
Join us on the other side, guys, so Maddie calms down and stops slamming things.
Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, is brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Mike from Tom and Mike AM in the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's www.gibsonmayer.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking here on the YouTube. Hopefully you switched over from Facebook to join us. And we are brought to you by Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. They're located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
All right, welcome back, guys. Lazy Booking live on a2dradio.com. Our Scanzana Sports poll question. Will Shinsuke Nakamura finally defeat AJ Styles for the WWE title? Yes or no? We're taking it to church this week, guys. Thank you if you made the jump from Periscope or Facebook over to YouTube. We appreciate if you're on YouTube and you stuck with us. You guys rock, as always. Mike brought up an interesting question. We're going to touch on that in about 2 seconds. Couple brush up things that we didn't. We touched a little bit on Raw and SmackDown Live. Couple things. I thought that the Becky Lynch Charlotte match was really good. FYI.
Absolutely. I actually thought that might have been the best match of the night on SmackDown.
Might have been the best match of the whole.
Oh, the whole week.
The whole week, as far as Raw and SmackDown goes. Big win for Becky, who needs it, and obviously we know that that's to emphasize the point that anybody can beat anybody at any time, particularly in a Money in the Bank. Yes.
Can I mention the biggest loss of the entire week?
What's that?
Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley.
Oh.
It's just a damn shame.
Well, it's just because of the terrible booking of Bobby Lashley. Sammy's done everything in his power to make that
They're trying.
good, but, you know.
It's just
Bobby Lashley was greener than goose shit when he was first with WWE.
Right.
He went away. He did, he worked some independent stuff. He went and worked in TNA for a while, on, and then off, and then came back. And when he was really with Impact, his last one was excellent. When he was really kind of coming into his own as a heel, I mean, he can talk.
Mm-hmm.
He has a presence about himself, and they've just totally stripped him of all of that.
Yeah, they
It's
totally
brutal.
they totally should have played up the, where have you been for the last 10 years? And he could play up the, I realized when I was here the first time that I may not quite have been ready for prime time, but if you want to test me now, and they could play the, the whole Bellator thing into it, and I mean, they could basically book him as being a complete ass kicker, and they've booked him as completely the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, he was, as the walking Armageddon was. I mean, he's a fucking force, to be candid.
Yeah.
And his promos were excellent, and he was in there with Kurt Angle, with guys who could talk, even down to the current guys like an Eli Drake type of a guy. Here
The King.
Here comes the King, the CEO himself.
All he does is fucking win games anymore.
Thomas Kennedy, our McMahon has entered
The fray.
the fray. He's got something to say. Wow, second appearance ever on Lazy Booking. This is becoming a thing.
YouTube, I can talk. Because nobody's going to know any better.
Hey, buddy.
AJ Styles? Did I see, is he in a poll question or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? What was that question again, Chrome?
Is Shinsuke Nakamura going to finally beat AJ Styles for the title?
No.
My man.
Dynasties continue.
That's what I said. Great minds. Great minds.
Good to have you again.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm going to have to get off before we start crying again here. Start talking fucking tea bags and other.
Oh, good.
So did you get a win?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the first time first time out there for them, so it was good. I was like Kapler, new pitcher every inning. But it was like a bullpen, so they're like 20, 25 pitches and
get out.
and you're done.
Listen,
and
Tom turns into Kapler, gets the W. Brian Colangelo gets fired today. It's a great day.
That was a great day.
I'll be taking Kapler's job soon. if This keeps up. All right, boys. I don't have a clue about anything else wrestling, but Styles loses.
There you go.
Did I mess it up?
Yeah,
Oh,
you got it.
fuck.
No, you got it right, in
I got
my
it-
opinion.
Oh no,
Right.
back to the first. We're circling back.
Tom are known with his second appearance ever on
he
Lazy
flip-flopped.
Booking.
He turned on his.
It's an immediate,
He turned heel real
He
quick.
went heel
immediate
real
heel
quick.
turn.
He did the Big Show turn right there.
Nice. Oh, that's classic. That is
Yes,
classic.
Yes.
Oh, it's
did
good.
it.
I don't even remember who was talking now. I think it was me. Was it me? It might have been me talking. I don't even know.
There was somebody talking.
We
Somebody
were
in
talking
this
about Bobby
room.
Lashley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley.
I think
that
it was
sucks.
Bobby Lashley
Yeah.
we were talking
They
about.
shit on Bobby Lashley
Oh,
all over the place.
Man.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
And he looks uncomfortable.
See, here's the thing.
That's the thing is he looks very uncomfortable.
If it wasn't WWE and their creative team, I would actually give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt and say, well, maybe they're doing this just to get to that point where they can have a burn where he just all of a sudden becomes that walking Armageddon. Instead, oh, fuck this image. I don't want to do this. This is garbage. This isn't me. I don't want to be this all-American whatever. I am Bobby freaking Lashley. And yes, I'm better than that Seth freaking Rollins.
Well,
literally could do something like that, but unfortunately, WWE's not intelligent enough to handle these kind of things because they don't know what they're doing.
I almost wish they would have waited and held him out for a Brock Lesnar feud. Like, if you're going to have him be a face, just have him go against Brock.
Have him go right to the top.
Have him go against Brock. He's a legitimate fighter.
Well, and
there's a story there.
And there's two stories there actually. The first being correct. They're both legitimate shoot fighters. Second was Bobby Lashley's last match in WWE, his first time around, was a loss to Brock Lesnar. So
It's true.
there you go.
I didn't even think of that.
But
That's deep.
They're late. Their booking is so lazy.
It is.
The other big takeaway I had from this week, and I would say it's an official announcement by me, but I said it 4 months ago before he even showed up. I know people were saying Roman Reigns is the next guy, and the problem is, do they even have a replacement for Roman Reigns? Oh, they do. And it's Drew McIntyre, okay? And I'm going to go back again. I know I was preaching for it for months that he would come up to the main roster and join Paul Heyman, and obviously they didn't do that. I am now going back to that. The second Brock Lesnar loses the title at SummerSlam, I'm going to go back in and say that Drew McIntyre will turn heel, or not even turn heel, turn on Dolph Ziggler.
Turn on Ziggler.
And then the next night, he joins Paul Heyman.
So you get a Ziggler face turn for like the 12th time.
Yeah, I don't care.
But it could work. It absolutely could work.
He's the guy. I mean, he's already getting over. I mean, when we were talking earlier about how tag teams really don't get over, the one tag team
is not a tag team.
It's not even a tag team, and they're getting over not because of the tag team. It's because of the one guy,
Right.
Drew McIntyre.
Agreed.
I almost want to read this to you guys. It's somewhat lengthy, but it's so good. So my buddy decided, and he's hilarious, by the way. He's been on our show in the chat. Chris Pappas
Okay.
he applied for one of the WWE creative positions,
Okay.
and he wrote a cover letter. And it's lengthy, but I feel like they would enjoy it if I read it to them because it's so, like, honest
All right, quit killing
but
time and read.
condescending. I'm
Just
going to read
read.
it.
Get to the chase.
I'll tell Pappas I read
like
this
Howard
on the air.
Finkel
It
announcing
says,
the Rumble
"Dear
rules."
hiring manager, I realize that there's a high likelihood that this application will not be taken seriously. I do not have the extensive writing credentials you desire. I wasn't on the show. I wasn't the showrunner on Kevin Can Wait or a line producer on Alf 30 years ago. I'm just a fan who feels a great sense of frustration with a stale product.
I love where he's going.
Since I was 8 years old, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, soap operas for men, or just plain old fake sports has been a passion of mine. Whether it was watching heroes that I'm allowed to speak the name of because of the sex tape scandals, or technical brilliance of a fallen Canadian national idol, or the loudmouth, beer-swelling redneck at age 14 was riveting, but has probably done more to usher in the age of the MAGA Trump supporter. There has always been something in your presentation that captured my attention. It was the authenticity and emotion these champions were able to project across the arena and over the airwaves that kept me coming back for more. It was your finger on the pulse of your fan base that always had me coming back. No matter what the case was, you always did what was best for business because it was also what was best for your fans. But over the last 4 to 5 years especially, it seems that the priority of satisfying the WWE universe has become secondary for lining your pockets with enough money that the chairman and CEO who took over the family business from his father almost 40 years ago, hint for later, is now worth more than the evil billionaire Ted. Which, did you guys hear that? He's now worth more than Ted Turner.
Mm-hmm.
That was announced, I think, this week.
Thanks, Fox.
Threatened to put him out of business over 20 years prior. He said, I know you hear complaints from long-term fans that still hand you their hard-earned money despite the fact that you're frustrated with the shows you put on that they now only have to pay $9.99 for. To paraphrase mixed martial arts star CM Punk, You are billionaires who should be multi-billionaires. There's money you're leaving on the table as you alienate your loyal fan base, and there's money that you can bring back into the fold by getting fans who took their balls and went home around the same time Steve Austin did. No, I'm not suggesting you go back to the Attitude Era. I'm suggesting you simply listen to your base and what your base wants. And when you do, they can share the enthusiasm and satisfaction they got watching your brand of entertainment and lead their lapsed friends to come home. Almost over. If I'm hired, I will work within the confines of positioning Roman Reigns as a cornerstone star. I will not, however, grant Rhino the same courtesy. Sincerely, Chris Pappas. P.S. I'd also like to point out that I found your current application tracking solution to be a bit clunky, and requesting me to fill out information I already filled out several times was inconvenient. I would strongly recommend you switch back to the ICIMS platform.
That's spectacular.
So
That is absolutely spectacular. It's great
Can
work.
you imagine-
Great work by you, Chris Pappas.
Could you imagine being the person reading that, though? I'd bring him in. I'd be like, that's ballsy. Bring him in.
Exactly.
so how did he do?
He hasn't heard back yet.
Oh,
No, you see, unfortunately, that is exactly not what WWE does nowadays because they're so PC anymore.
So good.
God. Remember when WWE actually took chances and took risks and had some balls to them?
no.
I love that he dropped Kevin Kinwade in there.
no, I don't.
No,
And Alf 30
unfortunately, you
years
don't,
ago.
do
That's
ya?
great.
But I think
I'm surprised he didn't put a Freddie Prinze Jr. line in there.
I did not.
Freddie
I did
Prinze
not co-star in She's All That with Freddie Prinze Jr. but
Well, wait, hold on. For the Young Bucks, pun intended, you guys did know that Freddie Prinze Jr. was once on the WWE creative team, right?
The guy from Scooby Doo.
yeah,
I actually
not that long ago.
I had heard about that actually. I
He was one of their lead
He
writers.
was like the lead writer for like a year and a half.
That must have been.
I laughed my ass off when I heard that.
It must have been number one. No, I did not know that.
Okay.
And two, it must have been after the Scooby Doo films and before he went on 24. It must have been right in between those.
It was before 24.
It was
I think.
before 24, yeah.
I forgot about it. I forgot he was on 24.
Oh, God, that's just
I thought that would be a fun thing to share, even though it was lengthy, because I know especially
was
you would
awesome.
appreciate
Oh, it
that.
was
The
spectacular.
undertones of like, oh, so good. The condescending undertones were amazing.
But here's the thing. It was insanely sarcastic, but not one word was untrue.
Absolutely.
no, it's true.
It was beautiful.
I mean,
Absolutely.
WWE is what WWE is now. It is a PC, pussified, like catering to the mainstream fan base that are not necessarily wrestling fans like we are. There are
The
but not
casuals.
as casual. There
Yeah.
we go. Thank you. Point is, they cater to them. They don't do anything to really support us, with the exception of a few moments and a few pockets of brilliance. And 90% of that is either A, because Triple H fought for it, or B, because the guys have enough leeway to do it, which aren't many. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is pretty much it.
And actually, it's a good segue. Talking about when you were a kid and when you were watching and enjoying the product, Mike brought up a great question. Just a random question. What was the first broadcast team that you remember watching when you were a kid? For me, it was Monsoon and Ventura.
The only one I think that tops that is Monsoon and Heenan.
Yeah, no, that was right after. I mean,
But Monsoon and Ventura was phenomenal.
so my first memory of watching wrestling, though, was, I believe, or watching it live on TV and not tape. You crossed through. Was I want to say it was El Gigante in a battle royal.
Okay.
And I just remember because he was such a massive man, so much larger than everybody. If you don't know who El Gigante is, he was Giant Gonzalez in WWE or WWF back in the, the early 90s, I suppose, or whatever it was. But anyway, that's my first memory that I can remember watching a live program and seeing him. But I used to rent the tapes and everything. I remember the first event I ever watched was WrestleMania 4 when it happened. But I had gone back and seen 3. I think 3 might have been the first overall thing I ever watched.
Okay, so at my grandparents' house, this would be my dad's father / brothers, my uncles, whatever. Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Fox 29 and Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. on Channel 17 was, I think Fox 29 was Superstars of Wrestling, and PHL 17 was Wrestling Challenge. and both of them were taped at the Hamburg Fieldhouse, and your broadcast crew was Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson on one, and Vince McMahon and Bruno Sammartino on the other. So yes, I am officially older than dirt.
That's back, yeah.
This was
When you go pre Bruno hating Vince.
This
back
was Vince like with the part and everything.
Maddie?
It'd be good old JR and Jerry the King Lawler.
Was it Corey Graves and Tom Phillips? I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Mike
You guys dirty young
Adamley.
guys.
Mike Adamley.
Oh God.
yeah. Oh God, Mike Adamley. Oh.
It's actually
I remember watching Mike Adamley on American Gladiators.
It's actually Percy Watson and Nigel McGuinness.
I do remember watching Mike Adamley on American Gladiators
Yes.
when they were new episodes. I remember watching the first episode.
Oh, I remember Mike Adamley on NFL. Was NFL on NBC?
Yeah.
In their on their studio show.
Needless to say, WWE was not the best
Fit for
marking on his resume. But so you that's great too. Obviously.
It was 99,
Okay.
and it was oddly enough it was a Raw, and I think that was one of the episodes where I think the Undertaker did perform a satanic ritual.
Oh. Hold on. Choose the better reporter. Todd Pettengill or Sean Mooney?
Oh, Sean Mooney.
It's got to be Sean Mooney.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, you know what? I have to correct myself. It wasn't JR and King. It was King and Michael Cole, because Cole was on commentary on Raw in early '99, not JR.
See, for me, and I told you guys, earlier, it was JR and Paul Heyman, but I began watching wrestling back in 2005.
Okay.
But it wasn't on a Raw or SmackDown. It was actually an interesting way I started watching wrestling. So my father he had the old WrestleMania anthology like DVD set where it was WrestleMania
I still have a couple of those.
2000 through 2004, and that's how I got into it. And I think my summer of 2005, like every night, I would literally go back and just watch it over and over and over and over and over. And so I got into those, and in that time, that's when Paul Heyman was on the commentary team. Because I didn't start right at 2000. I started like 2003. Or no, you know what it was? Because the main event was the Brock Lesnar-Kurt Angle. And I remember then I kind of went backwards into, because then he bought the 95 to 99 anthology. So I kind of went backwards. And then once I was done with that, then I started getting into Raw and SmackDown every week.
So how far back have you? I mean, I know Maddie has. Maddie's a network guy. How far back have you gone as far as watching some of the older content? Because, have you gone? Have you gone back to the early WrestleManias and watched a lot of that, or the SummerSlams and whatnot?
No, I have. I haven't studied them like Maddie has.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's understandable.
I would say that because of these anthology DVDs, I started studying everything in the 95 and then working my way up, because I always remember thinking okay, I want to study what happened in wrestling from basically the year I was born or the year before 95 to present, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, see, it's funny because when I go on the network and I'm going deep into the past, I stay away from the major pay-per-views. I go to the vault, I'm doing house shows. I'm doing Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens from 1987. I'm doing Madison Square Garden from
see some of the old Spectrum shows
1982.
on there too.
Oh, I've literally killed an entire Saturday afternoon watching 3 consecutive Spectrum Wrestling on Prism shows on the WWE Network.
Well, here's interesting. I actually watched one of the ones from Boston Gardens from back in the 80s.
There you go.
And guess who was in the first match? It was Macho Man's brother.
Lanny Poffo.
It was
The
Leaping
Genius.
Lanny
There you go.
Poffo.
Oh, it was when he was leaping Lenny.
Yeah, so I can tell you
I
that
thought he was going to tell me Tito Santana.
the reason
I was
that
going to say,
I
tell me
it
which
was
one
the
that is. I
second
will
match,
not
but
fucking watch
anyway.
that.
the reason that I remember so vividly who the announce team was when the very first wrestling show I ever watched was because one of the scariest moments of my childhood happened on that show. So it was around that time Jimmy Superfly Snuka had just gone through the first babyface turn where Nature Boy Buddy Rogers discovers that Captain Lou Albano doesn't actually have a contract on Snuka. Snuka asks Buddy Rogers to be the manager, and Captain Lou then goes and recruits Ray the Crippler Stevens. And before a match on Wrestling Superstars, Ray Stevens attacks Snuka, and Ray Stevens' finishing move was a pile driver. Gives him a pile driver in the ring, kicks him out of the ring, and then gives him a pile driver on the floor. And they have a camera shoot a close-up of Snuka, and Snuka took the pile driver on the floor and juiced like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
Was literally laying there with a pool of blood around his head. And I am freaking the hell out. I thought he died because it was real to me.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, I didn't know any different. And they had me hooked from that moment on because I tuned into every WWF show I could find for the next 6 months because I wanted updates on Jimmy Snuka.
Well, I can remember in, 91 or 92, with Jake Roberts and having Savage locked into the ropes and having the snake digging into his arm. And I mean, at that time, that was edgy. That was real edgy. And you're a kid. You're hearing that this Cobra.
If you watch the episode of Something Else to Wrestle With, that wasn't supposed to happen.
The snake wasn't supposed to
The
bite
snake
his
was
arm.
not. The snake wasn't venomous.
Yeah.
So there was no danger. But the snake wasn't supposed to bite him and latch on. He was just supposed to nip him, and Jake was supposed to pull the snake away and go.
Well, you can watch it and see Jake trying to get the snake
Jake
off.
couldn't get the snake off of him.
God.
Brodo's,
Freaking chills.
Brodo's got like skeeves over there now.
Not a fan of the snakes.
Well, SJM86 actually chimes in.
SJM.
And
What's up?
What's up, SJM?
He threw out some interesting announced teams. He says Randy Savage, Bobby Heenan, and Vince McMahon during the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor Ramon angle always stands
on Monday
out.
Night Raw. Yep,
And
good one.
he says not sure if he couldn't remember if it was Heenan or Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig that was on the announced team. I think it was Bob
Well, they
Heenan.
both did time on the announced crew there.
Back then, it was Heenan, though.
Yeah.
That was when
very beginning of Raw.
that was right around, because Perfect was still a competitor. That's when he basically sent Flair packing back to WCW.
Yep.
And then the final one he says is McMahon and Monsoon is the earliest I can remember.
That was kind of a disaster because you had two play-by-play guys stepping on each other.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I remember it. It did happen.
Yeah.
Best non-WWE, WWF announced team.
The best trio that I think they ever had, which you don't necessarily need three announcers, but I think the best trio they ever had was McMahon, Lawler, and Jim Ross, oddly enough, back when they had 97. They did it a little bit in 96, but I think it was mostly 97 they did the trio. That wasn't bad because they actually had – you hear Lawler just making fun of both McMahon and making fun of Jim Ross at the same time.
Yeah. If you go early, I mean, Jim Ross and Paul Heyman early in WCW as Paulie Dangerously was really good. Ventura was okay with Jim Ross at that time. It's tough for me. I didn't love a lot of the announced teams elsewhere.
Well, what did you guys prefer? Did you prefer it when it was Paulie Dangerously and Ross in WCW, or when it was in WWF when he came back?
It's hard to say because it was a whole it was a different product.
Different product, different dynamic.
I mean, Heyman at that point had become such a bigger character than he was previously
because of ECW.
Then it was Heyman's brilliance was kind of underlined, like it wasn't recognized as much as by many. But it's fun to go back and watch it now, and you appreciate it even more knowing to what he's become.
You brought up an interesting question, Mike.
Okay.
The best non-WWE announced team, correct?
Or your favorite, yeah.
My favorite?
Go ahead.
I'm sure the popular answers would probably be in WCW. I'll give a wild card because this was kind of my childhood as well. Mike Tenay and Don West.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Destination X 2007, because that was another DVD anthology I had.
There's
The old
nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
No,
With-
Mike Tenay and Don West were a good team.
There
Yeah.
was nothing like how they commentated the Canadian Destroyer that P.D. Williams would put on. The way
Oh,
they
that was
would
amazing.
call
We
that
have a
move.
P.D. Williams reference.
Yes.
You win.
That's good
Honestly,
points right there. Yeah.
I mean, that's my childhood right there.
P.D. Williams.
See, I was
Hey, Hannah. Hey, Hannah. Hey, Hannah.
I was actually a fan.
I don't hate that.
I was actually a fan of Mike Tenay and Lee Marshall on WCW Saturday Night.
yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Lee.
Well,
Yep.
one of the best spots I ever did see was actually, I don't know if it was Destination X, but it was one of those pay-per-views where PD literally just takes a quick little leap off the second rope, goes right, has his legs right between Styles' head, and does the Canadian Destroyer immediately. I was like, that was just freaking amazing. I've never seen that done before.
It's awesome. And I could go really old school on you, and I could go NWA Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, David Crockett and Tony Schiavone. When Tony Schiavone was like 21 years old.
You know what we should? Here's an idea, Crumb. little preparation meeting live on the air.
Live prep.
Yeah, live prep.
Live prep.
One of these weeks where we're deep in like a 6-week build up to one of these pay-per-views, I should bring in one of those like DVDs
And do like a live reaction.
Yes, just have that on in the background.
Shit, there's no way we could actually do a split screen, could we? That's
Nah.
copyright
Yeah, we
violation.
could.
Yeah, we get
Damn
so
it.
much.
No, I'll tell
We
you.
would get ruined.
Damn it!
We would get ruined on YouTube.
Damn it, that's my material.
A2D.
My.
A2D was a new kind of sports talk.
No, what we are going to do, we're going to have some fun in the coming weeks, particularly between now and SummerSlam, because we know after Money in the Bank, we have Shitty Ground, which is going to be the next pay-per-view. We're going to try to do some fun, gimmicky kind of shows, something like where we want it to be interactive, whether it's me and Maddie were throwing around greatest European champions, something along those lines, not necessarily like WWE champions
Naked
or
Midian
WCW champions, but like the random ones. Maybe you could do even like a WCW television championship tournament.
God.
The greatest WWF hardcore champion.
Oh,
God.
Yes. My money's on Terry.
There you go.
So while we're on this topic, though, when we're talking about the old school announcers, who was the worst, or who did you hate the most?
Tony
I hated Mike
Schiavone.
Adamle. I can tell you that much.
Adamle was pretty bad.
Yeah, I hated
Schiavone
him.
wasn't good.
Matt Stryker.
I like Stryker.
Oh!
I don't mind Stryker.
Oh!
I'll tell you who I hated, and later in life I've come to hate him even more.
Oh, God.
Mark Madden.
Mark Madden was
Mark
awful.
Madden. Oh, he's a piece of shit.
Mark
anyway.
Madden is
And
a
he
scumbag.
is
He
a
was
complete
awful.
Pittsburgh shill.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
Yeah, Madden,
who I
Madden was
wasn't a
pretty
huge
awful. I
fan
got to
of?
give you that one.
I'm actually not a huge fan of Booker as a color guy.
I think Booker's so funny,
I'm not.
though.
I'm not.
I
as-
agree with you.
I'm
He's
not
not great, but he's so funny.
I'm not taking anything away from his funny credentials, but it's kind of like a Taz thing. Like Taz had his moments, and then he kind of had those moments like, "Please shut up, Taz. Just please don't talk. You know, please don't."
He is pretty funny, though.
See, I liked, though, when Taz was able to do commentary as the human suplex machine. You're lucky I'm not in the ring with you, or I'd
Yes.
drop you on your head.
You're right.
Like
you're
that, when they tried to genericize him and make him the corporate announcer, whether it was WWE or Impact, like it just didn't work. But when he was able to play the role as Taz, like I loved it. And to this day, I will tell you one of my top 5 favorite WWE/WWF debuts is when he walked into Madison Square Garden and choked out Kurt Angle.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yeah, that was
Absolutely
great.
great.
That was a great moment right there.
I'll add another honorable mention to the worst. Booker T.
All right.
Shucky Ducky.
But
Shucky
that's-
ducky,
didn't you just
quack,
say Booker
quack,
T,
quack.
right?
I did say Booker T. Yes.
Well, that's an honorable mention for me, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Did anybody remember when Mick Foley was color commentator on SmackDown for a very
Oh my
very short
God.
period of time?
Yeah. I'll tell you who was good. Both Miz and CM Punk.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, CM Punk was very good.
They
I
were
thought.
very good.
Austin Aries wasn't bad either.
Aries was
No,
pretty
Aries,
decent.
Aries was very good.
Maddie,
Yeah,
I think when
I
they
mean-
did that, I remember you and I were talking like,
Trying to think of
maybe
really
they should
bad
keep
ones.
him there.
Just keep Austin Aries as color
Keep him
commentator.
safe over there. The eye's not ready.
No, he would have quit any earlier than he did.
I didn't love Shivani.
Not too many people do. Although he
I was
did-
okay with Bischoff just because I felt like when Bischoff really hit the stride of it was when the NWO stuff was going on, and I thought he played that very well.
Oh, he found out.
AWA, Lee Marshall and Eric Bischoff,
Oh God.
where Bischoff was horrible.
Which you can see on the network for
green.
$9.99.
He had no
Yeah.
idea what he was doing.
So do you want to get into your this week's?
Yeah, we'll two quick news points real quick. Obviously, the CM Punk case. How do you guys feel about that? CM Punk's been found. CM Punk and Colt Cabana were obviously found innocent of all charges in regards to the defamation suit with Amon, which I'm surprised about. By the way,
I think they're both very lucky because I don't know where the two of them combined were going to come up with $3.9 million.
Well, I don't. I think Punk could have came up with it. I don't know that Cabana. I mean, I would have felt really bad for him, but it's amazing to me because they had video testimonies from Kane and referees and everything else that seemed to totally go in the way of Amon. So I'm really shocked that none of that was found guilty. But I mean, it is what it is. Then of course you have CM Punk's going to be all in now. CM Punk's going to be all in. He immediately shot that down right away.
All in on what? Coming back?
No, the
No,
pay-per-view.
The show that the Bullet
The
Club.
Bullet
Bucks,
Club show.
Yeah, the
Oh, I'm
Bucks
sorry. Yeah.
and Cody Rhodes'
Yeah.
show.
That's what they say now. They're all in. Yeah, no. Guys, he's never coming back.
No.
And if he does, it's like 10 years from now
He
when
has a
he's broke.
fight in like 2 months.
He
does
has a
not?
No, he has a
like
fight
this weekend.
This weekend.
Oh, he's gonna. That's bad timing, isn't it?
Well, and that's now the rub is that if he loses the fight, he could say that he was distracted by the court proceedings and he wants one more shot at this UFC stuff.
All right.
I personally don't think he's going to lose. I think they're putting him in there with like a big time jabroni.
Yeah, he's. They're saying this is gonna be like the worst fight on any pay-per-view match card in UFC history.
But here's the thing. It's at the United Center.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back and watch those WWE Network shows of the CM Punk entrance when he fought Cena at
Money in the
the
Bank.
Rosemont Horizon,
Yeah, but Money in the
and
Bank.
double that
Yep.
for Punk in UFC at the United Center, because they will as soon as Code of Personality hits, they're gonna blow the roof off that place.
Oh, listen. I got the pay-per-view so I can see him.
There you go.
So it worked for me.
Which, by the way, is definitely one of the greatest Money in the Bank moments of
Oh,
the
no
history.
question.
Of the
We were just talking about that last night. I was actually in Chicago that weekend. I saw Cena and Punk at the airport.
Oh, nice.
That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy.
And that was when Punk won the title, and then he ran off, and he was taking pictures and posting them on social media, with the title in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then he showed up at the Cubs game with it. Fuck
Yep.
the Cubs, but it was still a cool moment.
He sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at the Cubs game Tuesday night.
Yeah, the other
Yep.
night. Yeah. After they read the verdict from the case. So, and obviously Cena and Nikki are back together, guys.
Greatest work I think we've ever
Hashtag
heard
shocker.
until they shot it to
That is a stretch to call it a great work.
I'm not. I was saying it.
I believed
with a
it-
bit of sarcasm.
I believed it for
there.
2 days up until as soon as he showed up. Me and Maddie were here, and we're like, or me and Maddie. It was me and Brian. We were Ryan. I can't even talk, Ryan. I'm sorry. I wanted to call you Brodo, and I called you Brian. Me and
got
Brodo
caught.
were here, and we were saying, Ryan's like, think it's a work. I'm like, I am pretty sure it's a work after this.
Yeah.
And then,
Although
oh,
I
I love this.
I will
And then-
venture to say that The Miz and Maurice doing Cena and Nikki is better work
Oh, it's
than
so good.
Cena doing
And
Cena and Nikki doing Nikki.
By
I
the
totally
way,
agree.
I think I saw this. This is the funniest thing at a Walmart. They have actual action figures of Miz and Maurice dressed up as John
That's
Cena.
amazing.
And
I-
Nikki Bella.
That's awesome.
I
That
would
is
buy them and
great.
get them to autograph them. That would be excellent. But yeah, no. So that's what we got for news stuff. Not much going on this week.
Anybody decide to? And I don't know. I was forced to watch this. Did anyone watch Enzo's music video?
Oh God! I'm glad you
We-
brought that
we-
up. Jesus Christ!
I was
Chrome and I
forced to
had a
watch
conversation
this.
about that.
I was forced to watch it, and I was just like,
Oh,
"Oh,
no.
my God!" I died a little inside.
I absolutely,
really did.
I was absolutely intrigued to watch it. I think the overall kind of reaction we had was he makes points in it, but it's the way he goes.
the presentation is
It was-
brutal.
It's awful, and it's just, to me, it shows me he's learned nothing from this. And I'm not saying an innocent man accused of something he's never did is absolutely a disgrace, and I feel really bad about that. But it comes around to when you have a history of surrounding yourself with certain people, bad things tend to happen. clearly he has not learned a single thing because he's just right back at it.
Here's the biggest problem.
I'm not
with
going to miss him
that
from wrestling at all.
entire music video. It was not the biggest problem. Wasn't even in that music video. You know what it was?
What's that?
It was his Instagram feed around the time in which he released it.
Yeah.
I had to listen. I was following him. He posted. I mean, he might have posted 100 things within the course of 5 minutes. 100 things because he was doing those. I don't know if you follow him, Chrome, on Instagram, but he was doing like those custom things where you use 16 images to create one. So if you look on your profile, it's a big image.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, Mike.
He posted 7 of them in 5 minutes. My entire feed for an hour was Enzo Amore.
I can't fucking stand that guy.
So yeah, I had to unfollow. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to miss him.
Literally, I died a little inside as that video continued to go. And the worst part of it is it wouldn't end. It took forever to end. My God.
What's happening?
We'll just include this in the segment.
What a
Yeah, so we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. Our final segment, obviously, is usually it's this day in pro wrestling, which most of these are, but we said this week just because we wanted to throw in a very huge fact, a 35-year anniversary yesterday of when Vince officially bought I guess, was it still WF at that time?
Actually,
Or was it already?
At that point, it would have been Capital Sports, or it would have been WWWF,
Right.
a wholly owned subsidiary of Capital Sports.
So he purchased that officially from his father. So Vince officially became the boss as of 35 years ago yesterday. And now we've seen what's happened over all that time, which is pretty insane.
Capital Sports became Titan Sports.
Yep.
And the Worldwide Wrestling Federation just became the World Wrestling Federation.
Yep. 19 years ago, Sable, Rena Mero, sued the WWE. She filed her lawsuit, $110 million, which was settled out of court.
And for those who say, wait, there's somebody else named Rena? No, same woman.
Yeah.
It's Brock's wife.
Yep.
She's been around a few times.
Yeah, she filed her sexual harassment suit against WWE, $110 million, which was settled out of court. I'd love to know the details of that settlement, though. I don't know that they've ever come out.
I want $150,000, but we could settle out of court for $50.
But a lot of it was her being intimidated into performing in certain programs
Right.
she didn't want to, including things with her breasts, lesbian angles, and different things such as that.
Right.
I'll tell you what a power couple that is, though. I mean, side note, Lesnar and Sable. I mean, that's a
still
power
bad.
couple.
She's like 10 years older than him and still
But
looks
here's the weird part
fantastic.
of that. She does all that, and then she comes back in 2003,
Yep.
and she winds up doing a pseudo-lesbian
The same
angle
thing.
with Tori Wilson.
Yeah,
So it's just like the one thing you sued over, you still wound up doing.
Yeah. Yeah. so
Irony.
Actually, that's called I'm broke.
Oh, yeah, that too.
10 years ago today, or I'm sorry, 13 years ago today, John Cena became the very first overall draft pick of the draft lottery. To Raw. Drafted by Raw.
When they did their switch, and the World Heavyweight title became the SmackDown.
And who was the SmackDown #1 overall pick?
It was not the World Heavyweight Champion, was it not? I don't think it was Batista.
No.
Let me think.
You can't think because he's vacant.
Oh, damn.
Chris Benoit.
Can we? Here we go. Side note to that. Who was in the segment in which Cena appeared?
That
Chris
was
Jericho?
the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And he also made fun of Christian during that segment.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
This is post basic thugonomics, though, correct?
It was
Nah,
somewhat
it was
in that
getting there.
transition phase.
Like he was still wearing like the
The
throwback St. Louis
jerseys,
jersey.
yeah.
He was still throwing
He
out
was
bars.
doing a few raps here or there, but he kind of got out of it completely.
He was
Yeah.
wearing the
A few
triple
months
X tank top over the shirt.
Yeah.
So it was a transition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest to God, though, if he ditched his current entrance music and went back to basic thugonomics,
It'd be great.
I
lose
might
my
become
mind.
the biggest John Cena fan
Exactly.
in this room.
Thug life.
This is basic real quick, I will say, by
Brings
the way,
brass knucks back and everything.
looking back on what Cena was for the
Word
first
life.
year that he was in WWE,
Right?
you know who he is? That's Jason Jordan.
Yeah.
That's literally Jason Jordan. I'm not saying Jason Jordan's the next John Cena, but if John Cena pulled that off,
Yeah.
Jason Jordan, you should be fine. All right, buddy?
Oh, listen, Jason Jordan before he got hurt was fucking white hot as a heel.
Yeah.
He was really getting over.
Yeah.
12 years ago today was and I don't know if you watched this before, the WWE versus ECW head-to-head special they did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like a legitimate
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
ECW WWE head-to-head thing. So just to run down the card, Rob Van Dam defeats Rey Mysterio, World Heavyweight title, in a non-title match. Mickey James defeated Jazz. Big Show, it was a battle royal. Big Show ended up, I guess, eliminated Randy Orton to win, though. It wasn't any ECW guys at the end. Although it did have Finley, Lashley,
No, you know what?
Tatanka, Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, Carlito, Mark Henry, Al Snow, Nunzio, Justin Credible, Tony Mamaluke, The Sandman, Tommy
Mamaluke.
Dreamer, Terry Funk, Balls Mahoney, Steven Richards, and Kurt Angle.
No, you know, I remember the ending to that. It was Big Show changed sides. He went to ECW.
That's when he turned
and then
to
he
ECW.
eliminated-
That's
yeah.
right.
Tracy Smothers, Little Guido, and Tony Mamaluke. The FBI.
Absolutely.
Full-blooded Italians. Tracy Smothers couldn't have been any less Italian.
Edge defeated Tommy Dreamer in an Extreme Rules match, and John Cena defeated Sabu in a disqualification non-title match. Speaking of
Tommy Dreamer, wow, 9 years ago today, I won the ECW title, defeating the real Jack Swagger and Christian for Peeps. The real story behind this day could be a movie, and I've learned to never wear those pants again. And if you see the pants that he's wearing, they are metallic silver.
Also on that card, Jeff Hardy defeated Edge for the world title in a ladder match, and CM Punk cashed in the Money in the Bank on
and that
Jeff
set up
Hardy.
That rivalry, which was a great rivalry.
That was great. One of my favorite unexpected moments. The payoff was not good in the end.
Agreed.
But one of my favorite unexpected moments in the history of Raw, and could be because it was such a terrible show leading into it. 8 years ago today, the Nexus debuted on Raw. Destroyed everybody on Raw.
Ah.
Afraid I've got some bad news
I'm
for you.
afraid I got some bad news.
Boy.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even going to read the card on Raw because it was
And
god-awful.
Wasn't there a story behind that, though, that the announce team and the crew knew that the Nexus was going to debut, but Creative basically told Nexus, you just go out there and raise hell?
Yeah.
And they attacked the ring announcer. They attacked the announce crew. Like, they went and they really just pushed it.
Yeah.
And I know Justin Roberts tells stories in his, like, podcast and when he does appearances and stuff like that. Justin Roberts, the ring announcer that night, was legitimately fearing for his life.
They
Yeah.
talked a lot about that on the famous CM Punk Colt Cabana podcast as well. You know, his point of view of it. Basically, no one really knew, and it was completely like, okay, these guys are going to go out there, have fun.
Right. Go have fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that was when Brian got fired.
Yeah.
He was fired for what, a month, maybe 2 months?
Yeah, and then Triple H said that
Daniel
is
Bryan?
the
Poor
dumbest
Justin
thing you've ever done.
Yeah. I just can't. I can
Side note
picture the screenshot and just him with the freaking
Side note of Justin Roberts, if you're not aware, was also a previous guest on the Jerry Springer Show. You can find it on YouTube. Look it up.
All right, then.
All right, well, I know what I'm doing
Random
in between
Justin
shows.
Random Justin Roberts
Was he the father or was he not the
moment
father?
there. Today
That's Maury.
today
Oh, yeah.
is
Damn you, Matty.
today is Mick Foley's birthday,
Bang, bang!
and it is also Howard Finkel's birthday.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest,
Scheduled
scheduled
for
for
one
one
fall,
fall, is for the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
All right, Howard, come on. It's only an hour show.
That's what we got, guys.
Jay.
It's a lot of
That was
good stuff
great.
that happened on this date. Like seriously good stuff.
Is it sad? Speaking of Howard Finkel, really quick, when I think of him, I think of the CM Punk.
I was just going to say, CM Punk's personal ring
I don't
announcer.
think of all the years of great, and now I think of that one.
Yeah.
When he that's when he came back and he beat Alberto Del
Yeah.
Rio in New York.
Right. Well, and the whole spin there was the way that they found Howard Finkel to begin with is he worked at Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden.
Yep.
And he was like their ring announcer for the house shows at the Garden. and then they just hired him to be like their full-time ring announcer.
Exactly, and they used him that night because Alberto had Ricardo
Ricardo
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
God, remember that guy?
Alberto Del Wait. Damn, I can roll my R's better than that. Rio.
Third
You
time's a
lost
charm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You lost the momentum of
I
it,
did.
Mikey.
I botched it.
You
I
botched-
can't help it.
It's a
but
botched spot.
That was
I
lazy
can't help it,
booking.
but I just remember.
It wasn't lazy booking. It was a botched spot.
I just keep remembering when the ring announcer for Alberto Del Rio was an entrant in the Rumble match, and he came out to Alberto Del Rio's music in this beat up like Pinto or something, and then he just went into the wrestle. That was great.
Oh, time to go home, boys.
Yeah,
They're giving us the sign.
yeah. The last couple comments I'm going to read. SJM says, I hope CM Punk gets knocked out. David Rosca, Enzo's so stupid. I agree with both of those. That's why I wanted to read them. Anyway,
Nicely done.
as I said earlier, stay tuned. Hockey Happy Hour is coming at you at 10 p.m. 1-0 right now. Washington is up on the Vegas Knights halfway through the second
That would be
period.
our version of Triple H.
Yes, there will be our version of Triple H. And obviously, what's it, tomorrow's, oh no, I don't even know what fucking day it is. My days are messed up.
Can you hear us, Chrome?
We're
Do
off.
you know where you are?
We're off until Sunday when Agree to Disagree comes on. Obviously, Monday, Sports Hounds. Tuesday, we got Birds of a Feather. Right? Is that all we got? And then Wednesday, we got the I'm fucked up today. Wednesday,
Big Wednesday night.
we got the Fix. We got AM and the PM.
And we have a tie hockey game.
And we got a tie hockey game.
All
Perfect
right.
timing. That'll get you a little excited for
Get a little
Triple
juice
H.
going here.
But, yeah, guys, make sure you check us all out. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Join the Real Talk group. Get us on Twitter. Get us everywhere. Maddie, give us the read.
All right. Well, Lazy Booking was brought to you, like it always is, by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants. They're located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Remember, tax season will be back before you know it. So be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
See you guys next week.
Hallelujah.
Burn it down.